Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Apologies for the sound glitches that we were having earlier on, but I'm told and I have confirmation that that has been sorted. So I would like to greet all of you today and thank you for your presence as we are gathered here today to discuss a very important issue or matter that will affect the whole of South Africa. Without wasting any more time, I would like to go straight into introducing our first speaker, a highly experienced professional in the public service, focusing in the advancement of women's socio-economic empowerment towards gender equality. Part of her journey for the empowerment of women, particularly young women, she volunteered her time as the chairperson of YWBN CFI. I introduce to you, ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Nontsikelelo Sisulu.
Thank you very much, Program Director. To media houses across various media platforms, the YWBN CFI team and members, ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon to you all. It was only a matter of time that our endeavors would lead us to our rightful space in the economy, particularly in the financial services sector as African women. Under the pre-Union South Africa, the economic subjugation of the African people was coupled with the stripping away of the little rights that they had. It is therefore fitting that we hold the Young Women in Business Network CFI journey towards the YWBN Mutual Bank at an institution of extraordinary significance in the history of our country, an institution that represents the tenacity and sheer determination of our grandmothers and forebears who fought for freedom, for non-sexist and non-racial South Africa. The Women's Jail is today an institution from where we draw our strength to make a significant contribution for the socio-economic empowerment of women, for the socio-economic rights of women, to ensure their full and equal participation in the economy as a whole. Much like the women of 1956, who marched on Union Building for the liberation of all women, black, whites, coloreds, and Indians alike, we too saw it fit to start our YWBN Mutual Bank establishment journey from where they submitted their petition for our liberation. It was on the 15th of June 2018 when the YWBN CFI members embarked on a march from the Union Building to the South African Reserve Bank, there to submit an application to request authorization to establish a mutual bank in terms of Section 10 of the Mutual Banks Act 124 of 1993. The YWBN journey to acquire a mutual bank license might appear to many as a marvel of sorts, marvel to watch in disbelief and some in quiet association, but all the while the public eye watching, wondering where it will go. Behind the scenes was arduous and was really a tough journey. The journey of YWBN CFI to acquire the mutual bank license was punctuated by key milestones. The first iteration took place 9 years ago with the formation of the YWBN CFI, a deposit-taking financial institute cooperative registered in December of 2015 in terms of the Cooperative Bank Act 40 of 2007. By 2018, the CFI had grown significantly, promoting a decision by members to register for a mutual bank license and thus expand services offered to a broader market. Compliance is always of paramount importance. Our third iteration, therefore, was the provision of rooms and con rooms of business case scenarios and supporting documents to prove the viability of the concept, viability of the market, and yes, for YWBN CFI compliance to conditions for banking license and regulations. Authorization for the establishment of a mutual bank took a life of its own when on the 9th of March 2021, YWBN CFI received authorization for the Prudential Authority with concurrence, I beg your pardon, from the Financial Sector Conduct Authority as legally required. This was in terms of Section 126 of the Financial Sector Regulations Act of 2017 for the establishment of a mutual bank. This is, of course, in terms of Section 11, subsection 1 of the Mutual Banks Act. It was absolutely critical that capital had to be acquired. So on the 1st of June 2021, YWBN issued a call to the public to join the network of the marginalized, historically disadvantaged individuals and groupings, particularly women, to own a piece of the economy by being part of the history and ensuring that they could purchase shares in the Own the Bank share scheme. This was an opportunity to build a mutual bank of their own from the ground up. Despite the call being made during COVID, the pandemic itself did not deter the people, nor did the disgruntlement, nor did the uncertainty of what the future would hold deter them. The Own the Bank share scheme ran for just 1 month, but saw 10,000 people voluntarily joining the network. The common bond and the vision they bought into, and they subscribed and they bought shares. And this was in an effort to form the mutual bank. They bought into a vision, and together they contributed 19 million rands. A clear demonstration of the public appetite of a majority black women-owned bank. However, the victory was short-lived when in July 2021, the company's Intellectual Property Commission issued a directive that the YWBN violated Section 99 of the Companies Act in relation to the Own the Bank share scheme. And the YWBN CFI had to comply and had to indeed refund all the capital that had been raised within 21 business days. We were however not deterred. It was simply a hurdle along the way. There was much ado on the elements of the Own the Bank share scheme, and the subsequent refunding of the deposits drew much public attention. But we continued. Undeterred, steadfast, committed to the journey, YWBN began to perceive the world for what it is, to perceive the sector for what it is, but also it showed that this was an unusual group of people whose behavior did not fit the mold of what society would want them to be. A group of people who, some known, some unknown, but relatively very strong, very sure that where they were going was where no one else had gone before. Overall, considering the hurdles that the YWBN went through, one must admire the unwavering tenacity and dynamism of the team that brings us here today, anchored by the vision of Ntabile Woods to ignite a movement for economic equality. We're glad that despite all odds stacked against us as blacks, as women in particular, as people who certainly did not fit the bill to be in the financial sector. Soldiered on and driven by this vision, we're here today, and yes, we will participate fully and equally in the financial services sector. I now, ladies and gentlemen, have the pleasure of introducing the visionary herself, Ms. Tabling Tukotsi. There's a time to lead and there's a time to be led, and for many of us, we were led. At times we had to lead, even the visionary herself.
Africa, this is officially in the history of South Africa the first majority woman-owned bank. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the following institutions for their stellar work and contribution in getting the license. Still Waters, Brand New Harvest, Udirde Kwaile Attorneys, FinPlus South Africa, Mambu, and Lande Consulting. This would not have been possible without the leadership of the South African Reserve Bank's governor's leadership, Governor Lesetja Kganyago. Our sincere gratitude to the South African Reserve Bank's Prudential Authority and the FSCA under the governor's leadership. It was a tough 9 years, but together we made this a possibility. Excited as we are of having achieved what to many appears to be an unconventional goal, we view the success not as an endpoint, but rather as a milestone on an everlasting path of evolution to effecting transformative changes in the local financial sector, leading to our ability to bring prosperity for all, particularly the marginalized. We do not take this achievement lightly. As our chairperson, Osinziki, said, open quote, the YWBN journey to acquire the mutual bank license was long, arduous, and onerous, close quote. It took us the whole 9 years to realize this milestone, which brings to mind the famous quote by Amilcar Cabral, the revolutionary from Guinea. I quote, "Hide nothing from the masses of our people. Tell no lies. Expose lies whenever they are told. Mask no difficulties, mistakes, failures, claim to easy victories." End quote. Sorry. You may want to know what the issuing of license means. It means that having undertaken a rigorous assessment of the YWBN CFI application, which includes systematic review of the reports and documentation submitted, empirical data on the knowledge, skills, attitudes, aptitude, and beliefs of YWBN, the PA and FSCA found YWBN CFI to be fit and proper to operate a mutual bank. It also means that the PA and the FSCA found the application and business case by YWBN CFI to be premised on sound ground, sustainable, and meeting prudential legislative requirements prescribed by the Mutual Banks Act. Now the question is, why this is so important? Well, it is important in that YWBN CFI is the first Black woman group to be issued a mutual banking license. This gives YWBN the opportunity to set a benchmark for Black women across the world, participation and ownership of the financial sector. We deem this as a very important and a significant step to de-racializing the financial sector and turning it into the one that reflects the country's demographics. Not only is YWBN the first woman group to be granted a mutual bank license, but also the first CFI to apply and get approval for a mutual bank license. So, what does this mean for an average entrepreneur? This simply means YWBN Mutual Bank will be able to offer your business savings and loan products for cash flow purposes, which we'll announce at the time we officially launch the mutual bank. Each time we meet people, they're like, you're opening a bank, you're gonna issue us loans. No, not just loans. We must also focus on savings. We must be that generation that is debt-free. What difference will YWBN Mutual Bank make? To those who ask this question, the answer is that YWBN Mutual Bank will not only be seized with addressing the financial needs of the unbanked and underserved sector of the population, but also raising innovation and competition in the financial sector to change the status quo. Of particular focus will be bringing the needs of the unseen segment to greater focus, financial inclusion of small and medium-sized businesses, particularly those in townships and rural dwellings. The aim being to create tangible economic assets and trade activities, and thereby help address distorted patterns of ownership of economy, generate sustainable incomes and growth along inclusive, equitable lines. One thing that the YWBN team and YWBN CFI shareholders don't understand is that in a country where the majority are Black, how is it that we own so little of the economy? Surely that must change. How does the road ahead look like? While getting the banking license was an arduous task, YWBN is alive to the fact that building one will be even harder. Accordingly, YWBN has set what it believes are ambitious but realistic financial goals to achieve success. By now you know that the YWBN team is extremely ambitious. We are under no illusion though that a lot of hard work will be required to realize success. Fortunately, the organization is blessed with personnel of high caliber, with a high degree of integrity, honesty, transparency, ethical leadership, professional competence, and due care, confidentiality, accountability, and thorough understanding of the banking sector, governance, and legislative requirements. Further, the team is imbued with positive thinking. I have never met people that are so optimistic in their lives. Like, there's never a day at YWBN where we're like, will we ever get the license? What's going to happen if they don't issue us the license? No. That conversation never happened. From day one, we knew the end will be this: the awarding of the YWBN Mutual Bank license. This team is a very dynamic team, and they are devotedly determined to reducing and eliminating barriers to access in the financial sector for the previously disadvantaged in general and women in particular. In 2021, for those that don't know how the process of the mutual bank awarding takes place, there are 2 steps to the mutual bank license application. The first one is what we call a Section 10, where we submit an application to request authorization to establish a mutual bank. This application is submitted to the Prudential Authority. When they approved in 2021, they approved this with what is called a Section 11(1), which is granting the authorization to establish the mutual bank. So if you thought in 2021 we were a scam, no, we were not. We were approved as per Section 11(1) of the Mutual Banks Act. That Section 11(1) comes with conditions that we had to meet. We were given a period of 12 months to meet those conditions, which that would have been from March 2021 to end of Feb 2022. And during that period of 2021, we embarked on a journey to include people of South Africa and Africa to be a part of this journey. We therefore embarked on an Own the Bank share scheme and invited the public to join our network in order to buy shares. We invited the public to own part of this history, but to finally own part of the economy. Over 10,000 of you joined our network. Over 19 million rand was raised during that period. I refer to a period, it was not a normal period. This was done during a COVID pandemic. When there was uncertainty, people were losing their jobs. We didn't know what was coming. We didn't know if we were going to die. There was no certainty of the future. But during that time, we held on to the vision and you joined us. Unfortunately, during that period, the CIPC then issued a directive to say we have contravened Section 99 of the Companies Act. Therefore, we had to refund the public. Did we agree with that directive? Absolutely not. Did we abide by the directive? Absolutely yes. We refunded each and every one that participated in that crazy dream. The chairperson, to be politically correct, in my speech, I'm not supposed to be saying crazy dream as a banker, or rather as a bank owner. But we are not known to conform by the status quo. For young black women and men that have started this journey, it has nothing but a crazy ride. To achieve such a milestone, you cannot be normal. You have to be crazy. So it was not our choice to refund you. We know that many of you did not want to be refunded. Many of you wanted to become bank owners, but unfortunately, we had to abide by that directive. So where are we now? because a lot of you have been asking, can we still buy shares? Can we join and be part of this history? The answer for now is not yet. Now that the YWBN Mutual Bank license has been approved, we can now officially challenge the CIPC directive. And you'll be happy to know that as things stand today, we have started the journey of challenging that CIPC directive. We cannot go into details about that. We need to allow the law to take its course. What is the way forward? With the task to acquire a mutual banking license now accomplished, the focus now shifts to building a bank. As we embark on this journey, we shall endeavor to avoid the potential pitfalls of overshooting or beginning too quickly by pacing ourselves. We have all waited for 9 years. What is another 1 year? Small things. In this regard, the year ahead will focus on capital raising, setting up banking network to make basic financial services more accessible to unbanked and underbanked consumers. Focus will also be on developing systems and technology that will help distribute capital more equally and better serves the interest of the marginalized groups currently excluded from the financial services. This will be followed by the commercial launch of the mutual bank. Don't ask us when. Additional specifics will be provided in the future. Remember, we're not rushing, we've waited 9 years already, so we are just going to see for another year. Our plea: building a bank is a complex matter. Chair, we were never ready for this complex matter. We are going to need your help to make a difference. Meanwhile, we'd like to humbly request to be given an opportunity, period of solitude and space as we build the bank from ground up. Soon, in the not so distant future, YWBN will invite you to be part of this movement because it can only be strong when we have your participation. One of my mentors is Dr. Sam Motsunyane. The last time a black-owned bank was registered in South Africa was in 1975. African Bank was registered in 1975. In the 30 years of South Africa's liberation, there has never been a black-owned bank, let alone majority black women-owned bank. We are a generation, most of us, of first entrepreneurs in our families. We are a generation of first professionals in key economic sectors in our families. What we know for sure as YWBN CFI and the YWBN team is that we will definitely be a generation that sees Black people working together to achieve economic freedom in our lifetime. In conclusion, we would like to conclude by saying we are super excited to have this opportunity and vow to use it to transform the financial sector and our economy into one in which everyone can build wealth and prosper. Particularly so for the Black majority who have historically and intentionally been excluded from economic opportunities. It is time, South Africa, to join the YWBN team, not just in words, saying every night when you go to bed and every morning when you wake up, to ask yourself, in a country where the majority are black, why is it that you are not the owner of this economy? The process to build a black-owned bank and better prosperity for all begins today. Myself and our chairperson, Ms. Nontukelelo Sisulu, you have already met Ms. Kamkhelo Masinamela. It's not just the three of us here from the YWBN team. I would like to introduce some of our members that have walked this journey with us. It's not the whole team, it's some members that have walked this journey with us. I would like to call Ms. Pindile Khumalo to join us here. Ms. Pindile Khumalo is the head or the chairperson of the credit committee of the YWBN CFI. I would like to call Ms. Kamkhelo Masinamela, who is our finance officer at the YWBN CFI. I'd like to call Ms. Ditebogo Timunye, who is our deputy chair of the YWBN CFI. I would like to call Ms. Refilo Dikotsi, who you have interacted with a lot when you contact the YWBN CFI. And I would like to call, we don't discriminate. We always say we are a majority black woman-owned bank. So people always say, but young women in business network, what about young women? What's going to happen when you are old? No, we are young at heart, forever and ever. And we also have male. So representing the gentleman is Mr. Manzini Mlauzi, who has been our lead consultant in terms of the mutual bank, who will also be our chief risk officer for the mutual bank. Chair, just yesterday, you'd be very happy. I was so excited that I signed my first letter as the chief executive officer of the YWBN Mutual Bank. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is part of our team. There are a lot more people who are not here today, but together would like to call on stage the woman who, when we met, I saw her and I knew on that day that God had placed us at the same place for a reason. The woman that has steered this YWBN Cooperative Financial Institution to be this YWBN Mutual Bank that today we say we have the license for. Allow me, or allow us here on stage to call our chairperson of the YWBN Mutual Bank, the first woman to be the chairperson of the majority black woman-owned bank. She comes from a family that has fought for our political freedom. Today, she will stand before you as the granddaughter of our ancestors that have fought for this economic freedom, for political freedom. So today she stands on the shoulders, and when she stands here, she stands as the granddaughter that has fought and fighting, will continue to fight as the granddaughter that is fighting for economic freedom in our lifetime. Help me introduce Ms. Nontskelelo Sisulu, the non-executive director, the non-executive chairperson of the YWBN Mutual Bank. Our boss. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, CEO of the YWBN Mutual Bank. And thank you very much to the team that has put in quite a lot of work in ensuring that we're here. I think we quantified through having received the license. Ours, I suppose, is the beginning that we will carry through just as passionately, determined, undeterred as we did towards the mutual bank through the CFI. When we started, we were clear that we wanted to ensure we are able to save and create a culture of saving. But within that creation of that culture of ensuring that we are saving, we will ensure that we create wealth in the process. And in doing so, I think it is only fitting and appropriate that one looks back to 2018 when we submitted the Section 10 application and reflect on what Nelson Mandela has said. And given that it was a centenary year as well, it is a reminder to all of us that they are amongst us. He recognized that our children are the rock on which our future will be built, our greatest asset as a nation. They will be our leaders. They will be the leaders of our country. And they will be the ones who create the wealth. So we are the ones who will create the wealth. It is indeed true. I am a granddaughter of Walter and Albertina Sisulu, daughter of Sheila and Mbumisi Sisulu the late. Often when you're written about in papers, your entire lineage is brought forward before the content and the context of who you are and what you do and what you're capable of. I'm grateful for the legacy. I, however, like all of you, have to create and chart my own path in economic freedom for women in particular, young women, as well as South Africa in general. I thank you, and I'm sure we'll be working together. I've already gotten messages saying congratulations, and we thank those